All right, everybody, welcome to the Man Store, our live podcast. We are talking today about high visibility and what the new standards are, what the latest standards are. This is our toolbox talk. We call it safety, as in TEA safety, because we're drinking our Southern tea here. We are at San Antonio Taco here in Cookeville, Tennessee. My guests today are Bob Gates. He is the category manager with PIP, and Mark Nichols. He's our rep with PIP. And we want to talk to you guys and bring you up to speed on what the latest codes are for the different types of ANSI specs and what the classifications mean. Bob, you copy over there?
I copy.
Beautiful. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you.
Bob, take a minute, if you would. Give us a little bit about your background and a brief introduction to PIP, if you would, please.
Okay. I've been with PIP for about 8.5 years now, and I've been the product manager, category manager for the high-vis apparel part of the protective clothing part of PIP. PIP is over 30 years old, and basically we provide protective apparel and everything from head to ankle. So hard hats, eyewear, and lots and lots of different forms of gloves and everything in between. So
Okay. The Man Store, we're a distributor of PIP, so anything that you see we're discussing about, we can help you out with as well. Bob, let's get right into the ANSI specs. There was the 107 2010, and then we went to from 107 2015. What's that all about, and why the change?
okay. From 2010 to 2015, the ANSI 107 standard gets revised every 5 years. And this revision really incorporated the 207 standard into the 107 standard. So therefore, we now have types. So we have type R, type O, and type P. We also did a revision in the amount of background material that you can use on the smallest size available. So it allowed us to make a true size small vest, which many people required.
Okay, so how does someone figure out what type of vest or high-vis product you need to be wearing for their application? Why don't we start with type O and give us your thoughts on that, please? I'm gonna hold up an example of a type O.
Okay, type O is basically stands for off-road, so it's really for people working not around traffic or minimal traffic, where, such as oil, gas, parking areas. It really just differentiates the person from the regular public, and gives you some visibility.
So it tends to be a neutral color, but it has reflective properties on it.
Correct. It still has to have a required amount of background material, which you see in that example is high-vis yellow, and also a required amount of reflective tape, both on the front and back.
Okay, so now when we get into a vest like I'm holding here, Bob, with no reflective tape on it, what do we consider this?
That's basically would call it a safety vest, or a lot of people refer to as non-ANSI. So there is no standard that meets. It's just something to give someone visibility in a very basic area, such as, they used to use them a lot in parking lots, but that's actually moved more toward the class 2s, but say a landscape or inside a processing plant where they may need something to have a little bit of visibility, but
maybe a warehouse? Maybe a warehouse?
A warehouse,
okay.
Meat processing, something like that.
And then, so what's the next step from there? When does someone need to be in a have reflective or a type R type product?
Okay, type R, once you move up to that, you're in a much more complex background, where there's a lot of things, there's moving traffic, things that you're not necessarily paying as much attention to, that you need to be more visible, so you're not hit or struck by a moving vehicle or equipment. So that's where you move up to the Type R, Class 2 and 3s.
And what's the distinction then between the Class 2 and the Class 3? Why does someone need to be wearing Class 2 versus Class 3?
Right. Technically, the less attention you're paying to what's around you, say you're using a saw or something and there's traffic going by, you want as much visibility as possible. So that's when you would move up to a Class 3. A Class 3 has tape on the sleeves and has sleeves, where Class 2 you don't necessarily have sleeves, but it has a reflective tape. So when the background is a little less complex, or the moving vehicles are going at a much slower rate.
So we're showing a Class 3 jacket here. Isn't there a speed involved where if someone's working in a high traffic area, when the speeds exceed a certain amount, Class 3 is recommended? In the actual standard, there are they're not really specific speeds, but generally when you're looking at 40 miles an hour, 40, 50 miles an hour up, you want to be in a Class 3. Much faster car, moving vehicles and more complex backgrounds. So the Class R, would you consider that to be more contractor oriented?
The Type R is yeah.
The Type R, excuse me.
You're looking at any road workers, especially. So contractors on the road, utilities, things like that.
Okay. And then what's the last class we're going to talk about here today?
The last class is the Type P, which used to be ANSI 207. That is for public safety. So that's for first responders. That's a little bit different because it requires the vest to be a breakaway vest, and also a little shorter, requires less background material for tactical considerations for, a president or EMS, things like that.
Okay. I have customers that they buy economy, they spend money on a better quality garment. What's your thoughts on how does an end user, how does the customer determine if they're gonna, go economy, invest money into a more quality garment that's gonna last longer? How does someone bridge that gap? I've got customers that literally can trash a vest in a day. What's your thoughts on that?
I think a big part of that is the end user. They have to determine, exactly what you said. If they're going through vests in a day where something's going to get trashed, and really if it does get trashed, it's really not compliant to begin with. So they want to go with a cheaper vest. People who, you may be better off buying a more expensive vest because it's going to last longer, but it really depends on what the end user, what the to be able to determine what kind of vest they really need.
Okay. What are some of the and what's new with PIP when it comes to high vis? What do you think? Where's the industry going, and what kind of innovations can we look forward to? Do you think?
Well, what's becoming more and more popular, is comfort. The more comfortable, the more chance that the person who needs a safety vest is going to keep it on and keep it on correctly. So trying to make more vests and t-shirts and any apparel, high-vis apparel, more comfortable, more breathable. There's innovations in the types of tape that are more breathable, more stretch. The amount of features on it.
We're going to do a little show.
Of different things like that.
Mark and I are going to do a little show and tell here momentarily. One of the things that comes up with high vis, Bob, I've got some customers that require arc flash apparel, and I'm trying to bridge the gap for them of how can I say this? They're buying polyester vests and putting a quote unquote FR spray on it, and passing that as arc flash. I really like you to touch on that a little bit, and I'd like your thoughts, your opinions on that.
Okay. Well, definitely the treated polyester, or now the terminology used a lot is self-extinguishing or limited flammability.
Yeah, there you go.
Those are products that are really only for, not for arc flash, flash fire, anything like that. They're really only for someone maybe, there's a spark that comes from a saw that gets on your clothing, they ignite, and once that product is removed from the ignition source, it'll self-extinguish. It is polyester, so in any of those high-risk areas like arc flash or flash fire, it will melt and drip.
Are the manufacturers still labeling it FR? Some folks seem to think that as long as it says FR,
Yeah,
they're okay.
FR is a much overused term. Then part of the new standard is that if it doesn't meet one of those high-risk standards, such as NFPA 2112 or 70E for electrical arc flash, then it is not FR. So any vest that doesn't meet one of those standards is labeled on the ANSI label not FR, and that includes all those self-extinguishing vests. So none of those can be used, or it helps people to understand that none of those can be used in those situations.
Fair to say if someone's buying a $15 FR vest for arc flash, they should rethink what they're doing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because the end result is much more expensive than saving money on a vest.
Okay. Awesome. Mark, we're going to show you guys a few garments that I think are appropriate for our topic today that meet the standards. Mark, tell us a little bit about this jacket you're wearing here.
This is a jacket that PIP came out with. It's called a reversible.
Okay.
So as you can see, when you're wearing it like this, the blue out here, it's got some segmented tape here, and
It's reflective
it's
pipe.
a reflective piping on it, and so that way you can wear it out if you and you don't have to be in a high vis or anything like that.
This jacket, it's not a heavy winter jacket, it's not a light windbreaker, it's kind of in between.
Exactly.
So it's a nice for an environment like we're in now, or
So you can take the jacket and turn it inside out, and very quickly becomes a standard class 3 type R class 3 jacket. And you see it's got black at the bottom, or the dark at the bottom, doesn't show dirt as much.
well, one of the other things we didn't touch on is we can do a really nice job at logoing your attire. So send us your artwork, we can do front, back labels, and we can really make your logo sing on these things. Show me one of the t-shirts, Mark, if you would. Here it is. What I like about the t-shirts, PIP has some options with the SPF built into that. What does the SPF do, Mark?
The SPF will keep the sun, if you're wearing this outdoors, which obviously a lot of your customers would be wearing this type of garment outdoors. The SPF is a sunblock. It's going to keep the sun from just beating on you. So it'll keep the sun blocked off of you, and so that's something we add to some garments as well that help with the sun.
Okay, PIP has a full line of high visibility rain gear, shirts, vests, bomber jackets, parkas. So whatever your application is, we should be able to help you out with that. We do a great job at logoing. You can find these products and more at TheManStoreTV.com. We're going to wrap up today. If you guys have any questions, you can, again, look us up online. I'd like to thank Bob Gates and Mark Nichols with PIP today. And stay tuned for end of July, I believe July 26th, we're going to have another podcast on cut protection, hand protection, cut resistance. We're going to feature the Dyneema brand. So we'll get you more information on that later. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you later. Stay safe out there.